with Lisa Natoli, who was the host of the very first episode of TGF TV. So there's a real circularity about this, Lisa, that we're here together today. So welcome. It's lovely to have you as my guest.
Thank you so much, Susan. I was all excited when I came on the Zoom call just before we hit the recording button, because I was thinking exactly the same thing. How perfect to spend the last day of the year with you, and Cindy Krupp is in the background. And so I was like, oh, perfect. So just happy for everyone who's joining us now. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome everybody who are joining us from various places, I believe, today. Welcome to new members of Evolve who are joining us for the first time. So Lisa, we are here today primarily to talk about the masterclasses that you will be teaching for the Integrated Awakening series in January. So before we speak specifically about that, I wanted to ask you more about your own journey, because you're pretty well known as a teacher of A Course in Miracles, and that was your primary path for many, many years. And you personally have moved, I don't know even if moved's the right word, so correct me if that's not right, but you have gone in a non-dual direct path direction. So can you tell us about that, and how does that fit with all of those years of study and teaching A Course in Miracles?
Thank you so much, Susan. Yeah, I've actually, it's interesting because it has come full circle for me also, because I'm back to the Course in Miracles again with non-duality teachings also. So I found A Course in Miracles in 1992. I was 24, living in New York City, and immediately felt drawn to it. I was completely resistant to the Christian terminology, but there was something in it that was like, something woke up in me, something came alive, like, I don't know what this is. I didn't understand a word of it. I went to Course in Miracle groups. I completely devoted my life to the teachings, read the whole text. I've got the first books back. I have every version of the course. I've read every version. I've read every word. I can memorize it. I've done the workbook lessons for 20 years. And I had many experiences of things improving, for sure, in healing. Alcoholism fell away like that, cigarette smoking. I noticed I didn't get angry so much. I was happier, but I still was vacillating. I still would get overwhelmed and frustrated, and just all the normal things, which I thought, this isn't what the Course says. The Course says perfect happiness all the time. Like, why am I not experiencing that? But I was so hell-bent on waking up with the Course in Miracles that I refused to look at any other book. I was like, no way. And my husband, Bill Free, he found non-duality teachers, I don't know, 10 years ago. Rupert Spira, Francis Lucille, Jean Klein. And he was always wanting to talk about them.
You didn't want to listen.
I was like, get that. We almost got divorced. We went through a period in 2016 where I was just, it was so in my face all the time with Bill. And I was like, get that away from me. Stop talking about awareness. I don't want to hear about it. And at the time, I was also going through physical symptoms that had been diagnosed as an incurable autoimmune condition. I tried everything to heal it, trying the Course in Miracles to heal it, trying not to heal it. And finally, I feel the moment everyone has to come to eventually, which A Course in Miracles speaks of, there must be a better way. And finally, at my worst pain, my worst physical symptoms, I really could barely function physically. October 2018. And the mind must have just been open enough. I tried everything, nothing worked. Nothing. Doing nothing didn't work, doing something didn't work, nothing, resting, nothing. And Bill had been at a Rupert Spira week-long retreat in Garrison, New York, and I was on the phone with him, and I was like, I just don't know what to do. And he gave me a practice that came from Rupert Spira. Can you welcome everything that's happening exactly as it is? And it was like this moment where I was thinking, oh, that's the one thing I actually haven't done. I haven't actually welcomed everything. I was constantly going, how did I cause this? I caused it. I know we cause our sickness and everything that seems to happen. So and then I'd be like, well, I'm not guilty. So it was all this mental mind stuff. And I realized that I was trying to fix, heal, understand, improve the mind, the body. The one thing I actually had never done before, and it's weird to me that like 30 years of spiritual practice, I missed the part of just loving everything exactly as it is. Stop trying to heal it, stop trying to fix it, welcome it, love it. And that was really what I identify as the turn in realizing what the self is. I got it. I didn't get it in that moment, but through time, where I just kept identifying with the knower in the awareness of the physical symptoms and the mind and the thoughts and the feelings. I made it just my dedication to stay as the observer when pain came up, and to stay as the witness when thoughts would come up, when I'd be like, oh, it's still not there yet. I'm still, and as I stayed the best I could, like I love the early stories of Helen Schuckman and Bill Thetford when they decided on a new approach in June 1965. The course hadn't even come in yet. It was just they were working in a Columbia University, fighting all the time. And they said there must be a better way. And the stories are incredible because what they say, based on Helen's observation, is they made an effort. It was half-hearted. It was, it was never perfect. And that's the part I always want to encourage people, is that you don't have to do this perfectly. You could do it almost 100% wrong, and you will still reach the place of perfect and permanent happiness, because that is what your true nature is. So then, just to kind of wrap this up, after the years of looking at the non-dual teachers and getting it, I was like, oh, wow, now I understand without the Christian language. But my love for the Course in Miracles is so complete that I'm back to it. I read it every day.
And does it seem different now? Do you see
Totally.
Yes, things that are different.
But it is different, but now I see some of the language in there in the Course in Miracles. I see why I got stuck. Like I can see there is still a part of me that kind of wishes, they couldn't have done it any differently. Helen Schuckman and Bill Thetford and all of they did the best they could at the time with that mind. But there's a lot of things in there that speak so just clearly of non-duality, of like speaking to the Holy Spirit, that's two, talking to Jesus. So, and there's always still this thing where there's a me and a power greater than me. But non-duality, which is what A Course in Miracles lead to, the recognition of oneness, is that there's not a Jesus in me. We are the Christ. We are that same mind of the Holy Spirit, not two.
Yeah.
There's just oneness. There's just wholeness. So there is now, when I look at A Course in Miracles, and there's so many parts, I'm like, oh my God, that's so brilliant. There's so many parts that I just am like, oh, that's the clearest it could ever be. But I definitely can see why I got stuck, why I needed to look at something that different.
Yeah. And the line in the course that says, enlightenment is but a recognition. It's not a change at all. We're studying Being Myself, Rupert Spira's book, Being Myself, in Bill's book group. And that's exactly what that book is saying, the very same thing. that it's not, that the very sense of self is the self. It's not a change. You don't have to become another self. So yes, I found that for myself as well, going back to the course, reading things and thinking, oh, that's what that meant. I misunderstood before. That's kind of been my experience. Yeah.
Well, I think part of the difficulty too is that the Course in Miracles is brilliant. I don't want anyone to like think I'm saying something else, because it really does
to emphasize that we're not saying that at all. We love it because
I haven't left it, but it meets us where we think we are in the separation as bodily identities. It uses those words. It uses words that say, now I accept the truth of what I am and go, rejoicing in the endless love of God. But then it says, like, stay alert for when you go back to bodily identity again. So it meets us where we think we are as separate, as weak and frail and powerless, and as bodies. And it leads us on a journey to a distance, to a place we never left. But that's part of the difficulty I think people have, is that they think I'm going somewhere and I'm going to do the workbook lessons, and a year from now I'll wake up and see, that's the sticking point for most of the letters I receive, and for myself for years, is that I'm waking up, I'm not there yet. I guess I didn't do the workbook lessons right the first time. I'll do them again. So many people have done the workbook 5, 10, 20, 30 years, and they just keep thinking, I guess I didn't do, I didn't really practice for 5 minutes a day, and I didn't really give the 20 minutes, and I didn't really. So they keep thinking, I guess I just have to like do it better. So when you recognize the immediacy of self-realization is now. It is now. The realization of yourself, your eternal true nature, which is happiness, is now. The knower of the experience is ourself. The awareness of the situation, the body, the thoughts, the feelings, the perception, that is our true nature. And so that's the part where I'm very excited to be invited to this class in January, because I love direct experience. I love working with people. It's my favorite thing in the world, being interactive. I love hearing people's stories. I invite people to not spiritualize. I'm like, don't try to be holy, and don't try to be where you're not. Be where you are. We're going to start there. And then it's so quick when people can really just honestly say, I'm in pain, I don't get it, I'm afraid. And so many people on the spiritual path, they just use these spiritual ideas to say, I'm whole and perfect. It's like, really? Are you really having a consistent experience of peace? Or are you just saying it? Is it really truly your experience? Because if it's not, don't bullshit yourself.
Yeah.
Like, just come on, let's meet where the thing needs to be seen in a new way. And it's literally. And so that's, to me, that's the excitement I always feel, is that the world is going through a great awakening right now, and just very grateful to be part of it.
Yeah. Jackie just asked Rupert's book title, please. The book is called Being Myself. Mm-hmm. So you touched there, Lisa, on how people think, well, I'll do the workbook lessons, and if I do them perfectly, then maybe I'll get somewhere. And obviously, when we were putting together a year-long program, which is the Integrated Awakening series, that was very much on our minds, that this was not, if you do this series perfectly, then by the end of the year, you'll be awakened. And you beginning right at the beginning, almost, with your class is called What is Spiritual Awakening, and what happens when we wake up? Because there are so many misunderstandings, I think, about what spiritual awakening actually is. So would you like to speak to that a little bit? What is
Yeah, well,
spiritual
I'm
awakening?
just grateful for the Teachers of God Foundation and for the evolution of the foundation and of the community, and that you have the membership area that is called Evolve. And then to now have this brand new series called the Integrated Awakening series with 12 teachers, each taking 1 month, that you've made it, that we're all going live. So I have my calendar all marked out for January, for Mondays at 3 o'clock to 4:30. And that the thing that, like I can say, like I had a turnaround in October 2018. It didn't happen then. That was the time when it was like I saw, oh, okay, that I can welcome this instead of fighting it. And then from there, it was like, I would say 2 years, maybe even more, of residual kept coming up. It wasn't like this mystical instant healing. It was this thing of like, oh, I am the knower of the experience. I'm not the sickness. I'm not weak and frail and powerless. I am the knower in the awareness of body symptoms and thoughts. I am the awareness of I'm a failure. I'm not the thought I'm a failure. I'm the awareness of it. So like what I'm going to do, and what the 12 teachers I know are going to do in this series, is hold everyone to the knowing while the residuals coming up. Like Ellen Emmett, I'm so happy that she's part of it, because she is such a clear experiential teacher of being in the body. That was one of the major stumbling blocks I had for 25 years, however long it was, with the Course of Miracles. I kept trying to escape the body. I'm not a body, but I'm in a body, so I must be doing something wrong. Why am I still experiencing discomfort? Why am I'm still experiencing pain? I still have. So I was constantly like trying to escape the body. The non-duality teachers include the body. They're like, come into it, be in it. You're not it, but be in it. Be totally present to your experience. What's the temperature of your body? How do you feel? One of the things in most spiritual teachings is they're like, you shouldn't be feeling anything. You should just be happy. You should just be at peace. Like it's so silly to me now when I see like everything is included, to not judge anything that comes up, fear, anger, hate, even whatever's coming up. And so the 12 teachers, because I've been watching, obviously I've been in the Evolve community for years, is it's so incredible to see everyone being interactive, to see these live calls. And then of course you and Cindy on Saturdays, that you mix up the schedule and have so much support for people. There's in life, very rarely are there people who are having these kinds of conversations. So to be able to find a community or something that will keep you on track. And one of the things I always say, it's a little bit of a paradox, because you should not be joining community to make friends. To me, that's not what this is about. This is about a space where you can stay right in the truth of what you are and be reminded, like to constantly get these reminders. So don't join to, have friends. You'll make friends, you'll meet people for sure. But this is more just about anyone who's really ready to stop vacillating, stop searching, stop seeking, to come home, to really say, okay, in 2022, this is the year that I realize the self, that I know the self, the end of suffering, the end of all sorrow. And it's not that things won't surprise you. that won't, life still's coming up. So we're all in the same world. We all have bills to pay. We all have things happening, but you will remain steady. Things come out of left. I mean, I'm always surprised that some things will come out of nowhere. I'll be like, okay, I don't know what to do here. I don't know. It'll be a moment of surprise, but there's no suffering in it. There's no sorrow. There's no, and maybe even something causes me. A good friend of ours passed away the other day unexpectedly, and I got a text message about it. He was a young guy, he was in his 50s, and I had a moment of like, what? And I texted it to everyone who knows him, and just even now, I have chills going through as I think of like, we get news like that. But there's still this sense of presence. There's always a sense of like, I don't know. It's just it's a whole different way of living, and it's available to everyone.
And it's so close to everyone. It's not at a distance. It's here, as you said. It's here now. Just to pick up on something you said before about spiritual awakening, I think it's really easy for people to read stories of the ones who've had dramatic spiritual awakenings and everything changed forever, and to think, well, that's not happened to me. I don't get it, or I had a little glimpse of something, but it kind of closed over again, so I must be doing something wrong. Isn't it amazing how whatever happens, we always say to ourselves, I must have been doing something wrong. So can you speak a bit to that, Lisa, about how, spiritual awakening can look very different for different people, and the importance of being on our own path? I love what Ajish Auntie talks about, being at the cutting edge of your own unfolding. I love that. Can you kind of speak a bit to that?
Yeah, it's such a good question. Well, the only thing that can say I'm not there yet is the body identity. That's the only, because the self doesn't know that. There's no, so like what I'm going to do in week 1, because I'm all about direct experience. I don't want people to listen to me and think I'm brilliant. I want you to practice. I want you to have practices where you recognize that you're already awake. There's the knower in the background of experience that everyone has experienced their whole life, but they think, because we haven't been taught it, most of us are just taught, oh yeah, and vacillating emotions. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad, sometimes you're this, sometimes you're that. We haven't been taught to be the awareness and the knower. And so, and I love what you just said, Susan. It's like, so many people have heard dramatic stories of awakening that those are the glamorous ones, so many of us have in our head, oh, I want to hear voices, I want to see angels, I want to just be in that brilliant light where I see all as one. I hear a lot, I have never seen oneness. So their mind has developed like a story to keep one stuck. But when you actually experience the simplicity of being the knower, like oftentimes, okay, so I just want everyone here who's listening on the board. Do you have a difficulty? Do you have something going on? Just, you want to just put it in the are you experiencing physical difficulties, symptoms, pain, relationship problems? Okay, so we have one, a glaucoma diagnosis. Okay, very good. So how do you know you have that? How do you know you have a glaucoma diagnosis? And Paula says physical, some kind of growth on my leg. How do you know that? How do you know you have a growth on your leg? Okay, doctor said, and some symptoms. So you know it. You know that. No, but see, okay, I'm so happy. This is why I like being interactive. So I'm just, for those of you not on the chat board, I'll tell you what just happened. It was, yes, glaucoma symptoms, glaucoma diagnosis. And then she said, doctor said, and some symptoms. And then the next one said, I stupidly believe the doctor. Okay. So you did not stupidly believe the doctor, and grateful that you posted that message, because when we work with the specifics, things can get seen. So the only point now is, so you have a glaucoma diagnosis. Are you the knower or are you the diagnosis? Both. Okay. No, you're not both. So you are only the knower. You are not a body. You are not the feelings. You are the knower. And the knower cannot be sick. The knower doesn't have glaucoma, but the knower is highly intelligent. So if there is something that needs to be done around whatever will happen next as far as a change goes, the knower will inform you. So like, I never say don't go to the doctor. That is not anywhere in my range of whatever I would ever say. Like, I'm always like, rest, pause, be still, straight out of A Course in Miracles, right? I'm not saying anything that's like ground shaking here. And when you rest, Bill Free always loves to put the hand on the heart, which I love, because it brings you right out of the head, pausing. And you naturally, when you allow yourself to rest, the self will start to come through, because you're not fighting anymore. You're not trying to go, I stupidly believe the doctor. You're saying, okay, that's a thought. That's just a thought. Oh, I am the awareness of that thought. I stupidly believe the doctor. And so you begin a practice now where you stay as the knower. You stay as the one that said, I have a thing on my leg. What often happens in spiritual paths of Course in Miracles, it's not real. This growth on my leg, it's not real. That often doesn't work, right? That can be a huge avoidance technique.
Bypass.
It's like, what'd you say, Susan?
A spiritual bypass.
A spiritual bypass, where you're saying this tumor is not real. Now, yes, in reality, that is true. Yes, in reality, there is only oneness, and you're whole and perfect. But there may be things coming up where there's a physical thing going on, and you're seeing this leg growing, right? Or it's painful, or it itches, or it's... What often happens is we're so much in the head. We're like, how did I cause this? Must have started when I was a child. Must have started from those guilt thoughts I have. Must have started. You never get out of that loop.
And also the projection into the future with it as well.
Exactly.
Now I'm this person with this symptom. And so that means I'm now this kind of person, and this will happen. And it's like a rolling stone gathering moss. And we've completely come away from presence.
Yeah. Exactly. And most people don't see it, because they're so deeply identified with the person and the problem. So the pause and be still allows one to say, I know there's a growth on my leg. Now, to make the distinction, what am I? Am I the growth on the leg? Am I the itch? Am I the fear? Or am I the knower of the fear of this growth on my leg? Am I the awareness? It is the same, it's the same thing for self-awareness, knower. So the invitation for everyone is to stay as the awareness and the knower. Stay as the self. Stay as your eternal changeless nature, and that knower has always been in the background of experience, because we're so focused on the problem in the body. So what happens is kind of like the problem starts to take the back seat now, and the knower comes into the forefront, the self. And if there's anything to do, and this is straight out of A Course in Miracles also, it says, you will be told.
Yeah.
The knower knows. If there's anything to do, change in your diet, do something to, someplace to go, someplace to, the knower knows.
Yeah.
And so that's the brilliance of it. It's just so practical and down to earth.
Paula's saying, I agree with all you say, but my issue seems to be I have trouble hearing what the knower is trying to guide me to. So that's exactly what Lisa's saying.
So you still stay, and this is why, again, I love interactive, because it's the only way like we can really get to see what's actually like running in the background in the mind. So I agree with all you say. My issue seems to be that I have trouble hearing what the knower is trying to guide me to. So again, this is why the 1-year program, the series, is so awesome, because we are so deeply rooted as bodies. We were literally, the second every single one of you got here, it's a boy, it's a girl. Literally, they didn't even take 1 second.
Yeah.
Not one.
Let's call her Lisa.
And then they name you. Then they give you a name. And then the training of the separation begins. Mommy, daddy. Mm-hmm. And then you are brought back into your environment and the learning begins. I don't know of one person here, and maybe I'm wrong, who came in and was not labeled as a boy or a girl, who just said, you are pure, eternal, changeless nature. What do you put on the birth certificate? So just everyone just know like that we have deep, deep roots in separation. So we have not been taught to hear. We have not been taught to trust in the voice, in the knower, in the awareness. So Paula, just be gentle with yourself and know that the knower knows. You know, you are the knower. And like, let's just do it right now. So you say, I can't hear. Okay, so you have a growth on your leg. Just tell me something that's sort of coming to you. Just whatever it is that's, don't try to get it right. Let's see. I realize I keep looking for the healing. So you see, you do know. So and this is the part I love so much, because it's the mind does not want any of you to take the journey home. It's so rooted in separation, but the self does. So all of us keep getting called to like, oh, I'd like to know more. So when we sit quietly and we go, okay, is there anything I need to know in this situation? Often the advice is just rest. It's all good. It's all, and then if it's all bad, oh no, this is bad. You stay as the knower of like the thought, it's all bad. So you constantly keep, this is what I'm going to be doing in January, is hold everyone who's in that class to keep coming back to, what am I? What am I? I am the one who sees the problem, the body, the pain, the feelings, the perceptions.
And they all change, don't they? They all change. This week it might be a growth in the leg. Next week it might be a headache. Then it might be grief. Then it might be something else. But the I am that notices it, that you are, is constant, no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so like Doris, like for me, when I was going through all those physical symptoms, I kept saying, how did I cause it? Like in my mind, it was such a private hell for years. I got diagnosed. Symptoms started with flu-like symptoms in January 2013. Vomiting, diarrhea, fever, dry mouth, dry eyes, burning irritation. I couldn't go outside or even inside with lights, was very uncomfortable. So I kept, how did I cause this? How do I heal this? I'm the cause of this. And when I started to welcome, like when you stop fighting a leg growth, when you say, okay, I don't know what this is, but I'm not going to fight it or resist it anymore, because the mind is like, just keep focusing on the body. We will figure this out. We will heal this, and then we'll take the class later and wake up later. No, use every single thing that's coming to you as a gift brought to you by yourself to wake up to the self that you are. And so for me, there were things that I was so focused on trying to heal the body. I did raw food diet, juicing, no processed food, no sugar, no flour. I spent like $20,000 on supplements, and you name it, I did it. The focus was always on trying to heal the body and improve the body and fix the body. When I stopped doing that, I was like, done. I am done Googling, done with the diets, done. Then the nowhere, my mind was so distracted on the body that I couldn't hear some of the simple things that are like, what do I love to do? What would be fun? And I realized a lot of things I was doing back then were people pleasing, trying to like just keep doing things I didn't really want to do, but I thought I should be doing. That's actually in week 3. Like week 3, there's the 4 weeks, is allowing the integration, allowing routines, habits, conditioning, and patterns to change as the body self merges into the self. So the description is that I wrote, the human condition is one of tension and repression, control and manipulation. We smile when we don't want to. We say yes when we want to say no. We say no when we want to say yes. We stay still when we want to move, sing, dance, and play. We hold back creativity and expression out of fear, criticism, punishment, and ridicule. All these stresses in the mind eventually affect the body. There is an integration period after realization of self where you continue to stay alert and awake to the patterns of the body self as the light of truth is becoming your new way of being. So you see how practical this is? Like, this is not like guru on the mountaintop type stuff. It's like you're going to start to look at like, where am I saying no to things? The knower wants to say yes. The self wants to say no, and the patterning is saying yes, or what, So you start to have a total clear awareness of what you have been doing, but you couldn't see before. And you take your focus off the body. It doesn't mean you won't go to the doctor. It doesn't mean you won't do whatever's, like I saw one about a hip replacement in here. Like that's listening. Like when you listen and you really are welcoming things without the fear pattern running, you might get a cortisone shot and go get the hip replacement. But then what happens often, I'm not a body. Oh, I'm doing it wrong because I have to go get a hip replacement. You see all the guilt stuff that goes on? What would happen if we just stopped doing that and just started like really listening, like to what do I need to do? How can I love myself? How can I really come to the place of honoring and welcoming?
I think that's such a great point, Lisa, because it's so easy to make the spiritual path into another self-improvement plan, isn't it? And to just to come to rest with with yourself, you know, and clear that space, have that pause, clear the space for your own inner wisdom to inform everything you do. And I just want to highlight what Jackie has said on the board. She said, my grandchild just passed away and I'm grieving. I was told I wasn't grieving, and I get that the capital S self isn't grieving, but I'm resistant to stuffing my grief. What would you say to that?
Yeah,
Lisa?
and that's a lot. Like Jackie emailed me, and this, you know, her grandson passed away. He was just 16, I think. And I loved your message, Jackie, so much, because when you emailed me, it was so authentic and so not trying to make the situation other than it was. And one of the things that I learned with the non-dual teachers, which is in A Course in Miracles, but somehow I missed it. Somehow my mind just missed it. And it's in lesson 333, conflict must be resolved. But I couldn't understand it for some reason. Like, conflict must be resolved. It cannot be evaded, set aside, called by another name. It has to be seen exactly as it is in the place that it is, if it is to be resolved. And it says that forgiveness heals conflict. So clear, right? That's clear. But for some reason, I needed to hear from Rupert Spira to stand in the discomfort. For some reason, I needed to hear it that way. And I had to hear it the way Bill Free said it to me, like, welcome. I mean, I literally couldn't drive a car for a long time because it was the light sensitivity of my eyes. So I thought I was going blind. So a lot of fear, like, oh my God, like I won't be able to drive. Like, and then even on the cloudiest day, it was uncomfortable because the sun was still shining behind the clouds. And welcome. Okay, maybe I do go blind. Maybe I have to wear sunglasses. Maybe, I don't know. And so it was more like a welcoming to stand in the discomfort and the fear. Stand in it. Don't try to make it better. Don't try to make it go away. Don't just, because that's the mind that's just trying to get you. It's that the Course calls it the ego. It will do anything to go, no, don't just welcome. No, we got this. We can definitely heal this. We definitely Google again. There's another story. There's another healer. There's another thing. And you never, when you do it that way, have an opportunity to stand still in the discomfort, see the conflict, see it. And it was like, oh, I am terrified of going blind. I am terrified of not driving a car. And I couldn't talk for a long time. I had severe dry mouth. I love talking, right? I love teaching. It's like my passion and my joy. And so I had to go through a lot on that one. Like, okay, like maybe I don't teach verbally. Maybe I just write. And then if the hand had a problem, then maybe it's like, okay, maybe I don't write either. Like, so you go through every fear and face it. You face it straight on. Let me see what's happening here. And then the practice is to stay as a knower. The knower can see perfectly. Even if the Lisa body couldn't see, the knower, perfect vision, perfect Christ vision, perfect, so some people might say, yeah, but I want a body healing. I get it. Like I do get that, but you have to be willing to really hands off the wheel totally, just to go, what do I want more? Do I want the peace of God, or do I want a body healing? And of course the mind's like, well, I want both. Both would be nice, but you have to start there. You cannot be in two worlds. It's of Course in Miracles. It is impossible to see two worlds. So this can be a hard teaching for some, because it's like, no, I say I want the peace of God, and it says it in the Course in Miracles, but I really want a body healing. That's what I really want. And then I'll come back to you. You're just going to be stuck. So, it is a place where you have to decide, do I want to go the whole way and know perfect and permanent happiness and peace, which is available? Or do I want to keep trying to find a healing or something? And go for it. Everyone's free to try. This is in the Course too. Try as many paths as you want to. Like it's all given. Like, yeah, go for it. Have fun with that. But you don't have to suffer. You don't have to suffer for one more second. And yeah.
One of the things that we read the other day in Bill's book group, which I just want to say for Jackie, is Rupert wrote in that book, our essential being shines equally in all experience, irrespective of its content, and even our darkest feelings. So even in the depth of grief, our being shines in that. And all that's necessary is to move your attention to your being, to the fact that I am in the midst of the grief. No one is suggesting that you should stuff your grief or not feel the grief. In all experience,
Yep.
The truth of who you are is shining always.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you, Jackie. He was 13. Yeah. And see, that's the thing, is that the world condition, all of us have an expiration date on the body. We do, which is how that goes. And so there's many surprising, unexpected things that occur, like the death of a passing of a 13-year-old. And then that's never going to change. It's just, we're in this very I don't know what to call what the world is doing for 2 years now, but it's changing. A lot of people are just afraid, getting sick, passing unexpectedly. So now it's like, I always do actually encourage people to go through the grief and kind of stay with it. Don't call it another name. Don't try to get rid of it. That's the mind, that's the ego. To really say, okay, wow, like, I'm just really sad. I miss him so much. I miss her so much. And then in that simple presence of just staying just right there, each one of you, that's I'm so grateful, Jackie, for just the messages here on the board and that you've sent to me, and is to find that even in the midst of the worst possible thing, there you are. There you are in gratitude and in finding the blessings, finding the gifts. And that's like a high spiritual practice right there.
The grief's an expression of the love that we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just quickly give us an overview, Lisa, of what you've spoken about, one of your weeks, but just what you will be doing for those 4 weeks and what people can expect when they join us. Because I'm really hoping that people do come and join us in January and for the year.
Yep. Yeah, so we have, if you go to the page where you can read all the 4, I wrote all the 4 different things I'm going to be doing for the 4 weeks. And every week you're going to get a homework handout from me. So
these are not just members who are listening to Lisa, so not everybody can see that stuff.
No. So I'm just gonna, I see,
Yes.
but
For
this is on, this 4-week description is on the Evolve sales page. And this week 1, which I'm going to do this coming Monday, starts January 3rd, is on identification. So we're going to make the distinction between the body I, which is the personality, and the I am I, which is the self, the knower, the awareness. And what I'm going to do for all 4 weeks, because it's just my thing, is I want everyone to practice during the week so that you can see and come back and say, oh, I see. So week 1 is to stay as the knower, observer, and witness. And we're going to be making a list of what is real and what is not real. So we're going to do that in the class on Monday. And then, so what is real? That which never changes, never alters, that which is changeless and eternal. Only love is real. That's the concept for most people. And what is not real? The body, the world, sickness, suffering, pain, problems, difficulties. That's just like a starter list. So that you can start to make the distinction between the real and the unreal. This is, and again, this is the Course in Miracles. Most people have the Course for years, so I'm not shattering any earth here, but most people don't take the time to actually live it and embody it. And that's what, and then the second week is on location. Where are you? So I'm gonna keep building on the first one. Are you located in body identification? Are you located in I am identification? And you know by the way you feel. So that's going to be
all about direct experience, Lisa, isn't it? Not having these things as concepts, but knowing, absolutely knowing beyond all doubt that only love is real.
Exactly. And week 3 is the integration. So week 1 is identification. Week 2 is location. Where are you? Body identity or self-identification. Week 3 is the integration, where you're allowing routines, habits, conditioning, patterns to change. The body self merges into. So that's sort of the residual stuff. You're just allowing the old residual of the separated thought system to arise. It's sort of like it's kind of like comes up to be seen, and it doesn't go away. It integrates into the love that you are, which is all there is. So it's not like you're going to try to like purify. You're going to integrate. And then the 4th one is the embodiment, being the self, which you will already have done for 3 weeks. So I'm going to really encourage everyone to embody walking, talking, being in this world as the self. So like A Course in Miracles says, function and identity are identical. And what is your function? And what is your identity? Happiness, the same. And it says, once you know your function, you know yourself. So once you know yourself as happiness, your function is naturally, it's not you're trying to be happy. You are happiness. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be happy. You don't have to, that's an ego construct. I got to be happy. No, you are what happiness is. And then we're going to have a Q&A on the last Saturday, January 29th. So I encourage everyone to come live, because I really want to work with everyone. I want it to be interactive. We have Zoom meetings where I get to see everybody.
That's great, Paula. Welcome to Evolve. I'm so glad you're joining us. Lisa's classes are all Mondays, 3 p.m. Eastern. She's asking for the time so she can put them in her calendar. And the Q&A with Lisa is on the 29th of January, 11 a.m. Eastern. And we will also be meeting every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern as a community to discuss and share how we are practicing what Lisa has been teaching. Mm-hmm. So someone says, if my Evolve membership expires in February, do I renew? You don't have to renew, it will renew automatically. And everybody currently Evolve members just automatically get the Integrated Awakening series. So you don't have to do anything if you are a member already.
Yeah.
So we've actually only got 5 minutes left, Lisa, and I know that Bill was going to join us. This being our last. Bill, are you in the house? Yeah, he is. There he is.
In the house.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, everyone. So good to be here, and it's so good to hear this presentation, Lisa. And you Susan, you're just a natural interviewer, and I really enjoy the way the answers, the questions are, they're real life questions and such authentic answers. And this is why we picked you, Lisa, to be first in January, because you're such a practical teacher of A Course in Miracles, for sure, but also, having the course struggles at accepting the non-dual understanding at first, the resistance, because when you're a fundamentalist course student, you can't look at other teaching, and then when you come and you explain it in such a practical way, it allows all of us to see the course with new eyes, which is the thing that's been happening to me for years. And I was perfectly happy if you didn't come on to the non-dual track, because I learned to be cool with that. But I'm exceedingly happy that you do see with those eyes and ears. And like me, we both have gone back. We both have gone back to see the course, as Susan mentioned, with new eyes and new ears, and a new love even for the pointing of A Course in Miracles.
Bill, a couple of people actually have asked, will doing the workbook lessons of A Course in Miracles interfere with Lisa's teaching? Maybe you can both address that.
No, I don't think. I always say, if anybody is doing the workbook lessons, I say bravo, and I say just nothing will interfere with that. There's nothing. You just make a commitment to do the lesson in the morning. They're very easy to do. They don't. So just keep going. One a day. But that's my suggestion.
And Rhona's saying, listen to Bill's non-dual translations. As part of the Evolve membership, Bill did, speaking for you here, Bill did 365 video presentations, reinterpreting the course from a non-dual perspective. And so these are a brilliant adjunct to everything that we will be doing in the Integrated Awakening series in 2022.
Yeah. The interpretation doesn't take away from the course. It really just it replaces the religious language for a non-dual understanding, and it becomes a more direct experience.
Yeah. I love what Jackie just said there. She said, thank you, Bill. I'm a fundamentalist ACIM student. I've been thinking about that recently. I always end up making everything I do a fundamental teaching, a fundamental Baptist pastor's wife, AA, etc.
That was Bill also. Jackie. That's funny.
That was me too. I was a fundamentalist Bible student. I was a fundamentalist course student, and it happens. When you're obsessed for the truth, you grab a hold of it like it's the last thing you're ever going to see or touch.
Yeah. The one thing that really did occur to me, like while I was looking at non-duality teachers, is what the Course in Miracles says, there's only oneness. So it would have to be that even the non-dual teachings are part of the oneness. Everything I see is coming from me. So that's where we get to laugh at ourselves, and we're like, oh, not that teaching. Oh, no, there's only oneness. There's only everything coming up, and then saying, oh, okay, I don't know why this is in front of me, but I'm open, I'm willing. And so that's just, there's no resistance anymore. It's just, and then you can look at it and you'll know, like, nah, not for me. And that's fine too, but it's at least like there's not this resistance, like, get that away from me. And that's not the course. And that's not, it's like, oh, there's just this perfect oneness. So love you guys. I'm excited for January. Happy New Year. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't say Happy New Year yet. It's still the last day of the month. I mean, the last day of 2021. So what is today, Susan? You told me before the call.
This is, in Scotland, we call this Hogmanay.
Hogmanay.
Yes. Hogmanay, yes. So we say Happy Hogmanay or Happy Old Year. Just Happy Old Year. Can't wish you the other one till tomorrow. Bill, do you have some final words as we close out this very last TGF TV?
Well, I just want to say thank you to you, Susan Telford, for being such an amazing host for TGF TV and Evolve and the member area. Thank you all for being part of TGF TV and its 2-year lifespan. Thank you, Lisa, for being such a strong supporter of the Teachers of God Foundation and the programs that we offer. And Susan and I, Cindy and I, Marie and I, and Lindsay and Lisa have worked really at the heart of what we feel is will be helpful for you for 2022 and beyond. And that's what that's what is the birthing place of the Integrated Awakening series and the Awareness podcast and all the things, the conferences. This April's conference is going to be a free conference. We've gone back to that model, and we'll have more new speakers for you. And we're just here to serve, to help you to see the light that you are and have the direct experience of knowing the self. And thank you all for being part of the Teachers of God Foundation and Pure Presence conferences.
Thank you. I was just asking Cindy to switch her camera on there, just to, as one of the hosts as well, and also to acknowledge Kelly Russell, who has been one of the hosts as well. Thank you so much, Kelly, if you're watching this, for having done so many awesome episodes of TGF TV for us. I don't think Cindy's taking the bait to switch on her camera. I just wanted her face to be seen. Oh, there she is. Hi.
There's
just
Cindy.
Wanted to see your lovely face, Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy, for everything that you do.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
I love us.
I love us. Thank you, Lisa, for being my guest. Thank you
so much. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Love you.
Happy Hogmanay.